Good morning, everyone. It's August 19th, pre-market planning session. So I'll just go straight to the SPY, what's happening with the overall market. So we know that the FMOC had meeting yesterday, right? And basically the market is tanking pretty much because the Feds are talking about tapering, right? They're saying that probably before the end of the year, they will start tapering on the asset purchase program that they have, and that they're spending hundreds of billions every month to buy basically corporate bonds to prop up the market. So starting in end of the year, they'll start withdrawing from this program, right? Start purchasing corporate bonds. So that will have an impact in the market, and we are seeing that. Right? We have been talking about this for a long time, and the Feds have been postponing it or pushing back this idea, mainly because of the fact that they know once they do this, the market is going to pull back quite dramatically, and we're seeing some of that. So that said, they'll always do something to try and slow down this pullback, if you may, of the overall market, because they want the economy to fully open before they let it go, right? That's the plan. So that's happening, but they cannot, ignore or delay this for too long, considering that inflation is now becoming a big concern for everyone, right? And then everyone is seeing it. Wages will go up because people are not going back to work. So companies will now have to pay employees more, right? That will have an impact on inflation. The issues with China definitely will have an impact on inflation because of the supply chain cost of everything. Will go up eventually. So if they don't start doing something about it now, it might be uncontrollable in the future. So that's what the situation is in the overall market, and we're seeing a pretty big pullback in SPY. I was joking about this melt up to 450 for quite some time now, and it is the top at 450 or 447 ended up being potentially the top. Who knows what's going to happen in a couple of weeks? Anything can happen, but looks like this could be the top for the near future, 447. So expect the market to be weak, right? So if you're trading any large caps today, expect it to be a little weak, unless we start seeing crazy V-shaped reversal that we have seen in the past, like this day, right? What was that? July 19th. What a bounce we got from 420s. I think it's still holding the trend, right? Still holding the trend right now, SPY. So don't expect that it to keep continuing down until we see the trend break, right? So this is 435, and I think if I remember correctly, I think SPY was bouncing every time off the 50 SMA, right? I think it's bouncing off the 50s. So have that ready too. Make sure you're looking at the trend of SPY. Make sure you're looking at I think it's the SMA 50 line, bouncing off of that. So until those break down, potentially a SPY could bounce back again. The overall market could bounce. So that's what's happening, large caps. Okay. So for the stocks I want to talk about, let me get this out of the way, are the small caps. Let's start with the small caps first. SNOA, let's go. SNO, wow. SNO is going crazy right now. When did I draw this line? Oh, I did actually. I had a key level of 8.4 I wrote down, and it bounced off 8.4 around 820 level. So that would have been a nice bounce area. Key level 8.4, bounced off of 8.3. So I guess the key level is 8.3, was 8.3. Now it's gone beyond that, and pretty quickly too. So of course, I was short biased. Now I'm not. I mean, around over 10s. I was short biased over 10s because of these key levels, right? If you see these. But of course, now that broke the key level, then you're looking at 12s, 15s, and 19s. I don't expect the 15s and 19s to get to 15s and 19s. But my plan initially was bounce off 8.3s, 8.4s, with upside to 10s, and then I was starting to become short biased over 10s. Right now, it's pretty darn strong, so you would expect this to go even higher. So that said, the long, if you are thinking about long, then I would not be going long here, right? I don't like to chase. I don't like to go trend join, especially small caps, too dangerous. Unless it's a really good company like AMD or something where, large caps, good large cap companies, trend joining is pretty dangerous. So ideally try not to trend join on these. But if it gives a nice flush Nova at the open towards 8.7s, 8.5s, 4s and 5s, then it's potentially a good bounce play with stop under 8.3, right? So it's a clear stop area you have. And if you can get a good flush towards this area, you can bounce it. Okay. And then you can have the upside to 9.5s, 10s, depending on how much higher it goes from here. All right. So that's the plan for me. Now, I think if it gets to 12s around here, this area, I'll start to become short bias again. Like I said earlier, initially I was short biased or over 10s. If it had stayed under 10s going into the open, but now that before the open it's already over 10s, I'm not as short biased anymore, right? Around this area, obviously. So the plan is if it flushes towards 8.7s to 8.5 area long, under 8.3, cut it. Don't overstay, because once this goes, it can go down pretty hard to 7s and 8s. Okay. And then now, this time around, if it's over 12s, it gets over 12s, then I'll be maybe short biased. Right now, I'm not short biased anymore on this. Clear? Let me see. I don't have enough screen to watch Discord and what people are saying. Okay, clear on this one. Sun, the next one. SONN. That's another second small cap. And then I'll get into large caps. Yeah, I mean, for this one, my key level is 1.8, 1.9. It has to get over it for Sun to be even tradable, right? Here, I mean, it's beaten down too much. It's gapped up. It gave up 50% of its gain. It's gone back down to 1.4. You can long it and have stop under 1.4. But usually it's not a good idea. Just because you haven't seen, I mean, it's doable because the risk level is pretty low, right? If you go long here and then you have 10 cents, 15 cents with stop under this level, I guess. But when it's down so much, you want to see some momentum, right? For it to build up before you want to go long. If you buy here, there's nothing going on. There's no confirmation that a move can happen, right? So you want to wait for the move to happen. And you're looking at 1.8, I think for me, once it starts reclaiming VWAP, then I'll be interested in the long side with stop under VWAP or 1.7s or what have you. So basically, under 1.7, you can have your stop. At least you've seen some move, some volume come in, some buying comes in, right? And then you can look at upside to 2.2, which is 40 cents on a $2 stock. $1.80 stock is pretty good. So the highs would be about 210s, 230s, 250s, and 260s. Of course, I don't think it'll get to 260s. For me, 260, if it gets to 250s and above 250, above 250 and above, I'll start shorting it. I'll start shorting this. And I'll start shorting this pretty hard with my stop being over 2.6, right? So it's a clear plan. So long around, if it reclaims you up 1.8, but don't overstay, take your profit into big pushes, and then your stop will be under 1.7. Clear? I think that's a pretty simple plan on that. And the risk levels are pretty manageable too. if you're going long. And the short, same thing, right? 2.5s and above, with the risk level being above 2.6. Okay, what's the next one? What's the next one I have? I think now it'll be mostly large caps. Okay, Hood. Yeah, I haven't been trading much since I'm traveling right now, so I'm not really sure what's happening overall. But the news in Hood, I think if I read it correctly, was that they had their earnings call, right? And basically, of course, the peak of the trading boom was, I think, last year and going into start of this year, right? With ANC and GME going crazy and gangbuster on us. The retail trading was massive. And now that's slowing down. So, of course, the numbers are going down, too. And they're calling it seasonal, right? Seasonality. It's not seasonality. It was a one-time thing. But they're calling it seasonality, which is fine. And the average, I think what was the acronym they used? ARPU is down, which is, I'm assuming it's average revenue per user is down from 112 to 115, which makes sense, too, because the boom is over, right? I mean, the peak of retail trading is over. So numbers are going to go down. So I expect this to be weak today. Plus the market is weak. So news is weak. The market is weak. So I expect Hood to be weak. It doesn't mean I'm going to short here. I want it to bounce, right? I want to bounce higher. Higher it bounces, the better it is for shorting. So I'm thinking if it gets to 50s around here, which was previous day high or previous day close, right? Then I think it's a decent area to short. I think the stop can be over 51s or something, right? So if it gets to 50s, for the long side, I'm not interested in Hood long side because I think it's too weak. It's not worth it. Any push can be sold into pretty hard. So I'm not as long biased on this. Like I said, just because I want to short 50 doesn't mean that I want to long here, right? Because it might never get to 50. It might never even get to 48s. But if it does, then I'll start getting interested on the short side. Okay, so clear plan on Hood. The next one I have is UPST. UPST is a tricky one. I don't trade this much. I haven't traded this much at all. I think just once or twice. And all I know is that it can make massive moves, right? Massive moves either direction. So it has a lot of range. But at the same time, if you look at the stock, at least the first few days, I think I was doing fine here. But now with the last couple of days, it looks really, really choppy. But I expect massive range. And I don't like to short this as much. I will once I start seeing big weaknesses, but otherwise I don't like to short this as much. What I would do for this one is I would wait for massive pullback, right? For this one, I think I would wait for massive pullback. So, 200 is a key level. If 200 gives a massive flush to 200s, then I would be interested on the long side. That said, again, this one can flush. If it flushes and it breaks your key level, get out because it can go down to 190s in a heartbeat. That's the danger of trading UPST on either side. So I'll look to take long. Maybe 200 is a key level, absolutely. So 200 to 198 is the level, the bounce area that I see. If it breaks under 198, get out, or this level, get out. Okay, because it can go down to all the way to 190. I can see that happening today, especially with the market being weak. So be very, very careful if you're going to go long off 200s. You have to get out at 198. Manage your size, right? $2 is a big range. So you cannot, if you have a small account, you cannot be going in, 3,000 shares or 1,000 shares, right? And because sometimes you have slippages and all that, it can $2 could turn into $3. So you just have to be very careful. And Short, yeah. I mean, of course, if it gets to, higher the better. 210s, 205, 215, 220s. I don't like it, but I think it's doable. Be careful though. I would prefer to do the flush play on this one with the tight stop under 198, and then just bounce. And then when it bounces, you got to take your profits, right? You cannot be hoping for it to go all the way back up to 210s, 220s. If you get a nice bounce, 203s, 204s, 26s, 208s, you should be taking profits into any bounces and any big bounces, right? So your risk level is $2. So if it gets to 204, that's 2-to-1 risk reward, right? So it's pretty doable. If it bounces, it can easily bounce to 204s, 203s, and 204s. Okay, so that's my plan. Stop under 198 because it can go down to 190. All right, so the next one, I think that's the final one, right? AMD. And the reason why I like AMD is because the market is weak, and AMD is one of the, to me, the more resilient one when the market is weak. But of course, it'll not go against the market too dramatically. Doesn't matter how strong this individual stock is. So I wanted to go weak, and I wanted AMD to hit some very important levels for me to go long, right? So of course, the first important level would be 99, and then 95. So I'm more comfortable in the 95 area. And I've been talking about this 95 area for quite some time now. If it gets to 96 and 95, I will start to go long on AMD, with my stop being under 94, right? So basically 95, and then maybe scaling to 94. My average could be 94.5 with 50 cents risk. It might not get there because honestly, I really don't see AMD getting down to 94, 95. If it doesn't, then I won't long, right? It's fine. But if the market starts looking stronger, then maybe I could go long on AMD of 99, which is the 100 area. That's the first level. If the market starts looking stronger, right? Not like it's going to flush and, doomsday scenario for the market. If that kind of thing happens, then I'll probably go long of 95, even if the market's looking weak. But if the market starts to look like it's going to push and looks like it's going to recover, then 99 is probably my bounce area for AMD. I won't short AMD unless it gets, pretty high. I'll leave AMD alone on the short side. And then if it bounces from 100, then you're looking at risk profit taking area of 102, 103s, and then if it breaks out of the red to green level, then you're looking at 105s, right? So 103, 104, 102s, 103s, and 105s. Okay. So again, the risk level is what? Risk is if you go long, if the market is looking good, you're going long of hundreds with stop under 99. So your risk level is $1. And then if it bounces to 102s, it's over, 1 to 2 risk reward. If it gets to 103s, then it's over 1 to 1 or 3 to 1 risk reward. So that's decent risk reward play. Okay. So I think that's it from my end. If you guys have any other stock you want me to look at, just let me know. Let me see. What's the AMD? VRPX. VRPX? Let me see. Yeah, it does. It does look like it's shortable, but at the same time, you don't know where to short it, right? The problem with these kind of plays, it's it's not overextended, is it? Is today's comment? It's not overextended because it's too beaten down. If it was overextended gap down higher up, then probably. But right now, you just don't know where it's going to bounce, pull back from. If it bounces, where are you going to short it, right? I mean, this is a clear level, 23s. If it gets there, then it's decent short. But if you're looking at here, you don't know, 18s, 19s, 20s, it's difficult. So probably, and it's it fell down too much, right? So it can bounce all the way to 26s potentially, right? So like here, 27s. If it gets to 27, VRPX might be shortable. It's probably a good period to short. M. Is there any news on in M? Oh, Macy's, right? It's Macy's. It says positive news. Yeah, I think M is. I think the M chart looks good, but I don't know if it's going to happen. I don't know if it's a day trade, honestly. I mean, it might take a while for it to, churn through all the resistances above before it breaks out. Wow, it's at 20s. I remember trading it at 5s. Yeah, it'll take a while before things. I don't know if it's a day trading stock, honestly. I mean, it's a positive news. It's more of a swing trading, swing trading, or even, if you want to look at longer term for Macy's. The chart looks okay. It's not up too much in terms of the, post news, but at the same time, it's up quite a lot from the lows, right? So you have to take that into consideration. If the news were broke around here, then there's a lot of upside, right? I mean, there's still upside because I think the Macy's history, I mean, the all-time highs are pretty high, but I don't know. I mean, I don't think it could break out if there are more positive news coming in. And I think the business has turned around. Then you can look at more upside to, 22s, 23s right now. The news that the business has turned around is already probably priced in from here to here, right? So now in order for it to break out of this level, it has to be like the business is doing really, really well, right? Like exceptionally well, gangbusterly well, if you may. So I don't know. I mean, I think it's positive news. The daily chart is okay in the sense that it's breaking out. There's the resistances in the 20s, mid 20s, 21. So that might take some time to basically be digested and then break out. So it's more of a little bit longer term play rather than a day trade, in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, if this kind of news came out around here, which I'm sure they had positive news back here too, then it's probably a more better play, better risk reward play. Here, I mean, you would buy this only around here, maybe a pullback into 19s, 18s, for more of a longer term play. Okay, if you really, 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 really believe in the stock, in the company, then probably that's something that you want to do. But as a day trader, I don't, or short-term trader, I don't think this is a that great a play. Okay. SRGA. SRGA. Have anything? SRGA is nothing is happening right now, right? I mean, the volume is really low for the stock price. The stock price is $1, and the volume is only 326,000. The chart looks like potentially a long play, but these are just penny stocks, right? I mean, I wouldn't trade this. It's only a trade, more of a very, very speculative trade where you're just basically buying at the lows and hoping that it give you some bounce. I'm looking at the news to see if there's anything. So yeah, I wouldn't trade it. Day trade this. It looks like one of those, if you get lucky and some news pop up and some chat room starts pumping it, then it starts giving bounces, big bounces and big moves towards 1.5 or something like that. Outside of that, I don't think you should be trading it. Okay. All right. What's the next one? I'm having BCTX. Pfizer is a good one, actually. BCTX. It was a gapper, small cap gapper. I didn't even see that in my screen, my scanner. So yeah, I mean, this is really beaten down right now. You know the rule, right? We talked about the rule, which is 50% of the gap, right? So it gapped from where? Maybe from here, $5, 560s to 708s. So you talk about $1.40. So yeah, so it gave up more than 50% of its gap up move, right? And when that happens, it pretty much means that the stock is really weak. And when it's weak, just like what I said earlier about Sun, buying the here level, buying it here and hoping for bounce, not good. So ideally, you want some kind of reversal move, right? And view up reclaim as one of those moves. And when that happens, then you can say, okay, it's reversing, it's reclaiming view up. Now let's see what is it going to do, right? And then maybe there's some play. But at this point here, I think it's too low. There is a setup called gap and crap setup, but I don't see this meeting the criteria of the gap and crap setup. Probably then it's an avoid for me. Okay, Pfizer. I think Pfizer is a good one. Pfizer yesterday did really well. I just glanced at it. I didn't trade it. Yeah, Pfizer level. I think 47s. I think 47s is a level that could come into play, or even 46s. The market is weak. Pfizer is extended, so now it's coming back down. I think if it gets to 46s, then I think it's potentially a play on Pfizer, a long bounce on Pfizer. 46s with stop under basically 46. And so here, 46.3s. I think if it flushes to 46.3s, Pfizer is a company that, it's a legitimate company. So even trend join, I would have done it, but not at this extended point. But if it flushes to 46s, I think it's a pretty safe area to go long off of with stop under 46. I think it's a pretty good area to go long off if it can get there, right? That's my ideal spot for Pfizer. I hope it gets there. But then you can also try 47s right here. I think that will be good. Short, I don't like short on Pfizer, honestly. Maybe when it was higher here, of course, hindsight, this would have been good. I mean, I would have probably shorted Pfizer yesterday, but I wasn't trading. But now, no, Pfizer is not a short. I think Pfizer is a long of 47 and 46s, ideally 46s, right? Okay, what else? Somebody mentioned DLO, so twice. So I'll make sure I talk about DLO. My computer is lagging. There's always a little lag. I don't know how trading will go today, but let's see. DLO. Is there any news on DLO? First, the volume is really low, right? That's the first thing you see. 61,000. It's not that active as a stock, so it's very hard to trade it because it can do unexpected moves just because there's no volume. Okay, so the news is really, really good. The earnings is really, really good. But that doesn't mean just go blindly, right? We have to ask ourselves, the news is really good. The chart is awesome. The chart is really good too. The news is really good. The chart is really good. Well, is it new IPO? maybe the market is soft, so it's having an impact on what DLO is doing. But you need some edge, right? When I say edge, yeah, I think DLO is okay. I think DLO is okay for a long side. Just make sure you're looking at the 56 level. 56 is an important level. 56, 56.5, this one, 57. 57 to 56 is an important level. Ideally, I want to first let the volume come in, right? Right now, there's no volume, so no point. If the volume comes in and it gives a good pullback, decent pullback, or even a trend join. If you do trend join when the volume comes in, just make sure you have stop under 57, 50, 58 here. If you buy a pullback, make sure you buy pullback into 50, 54 area here. It's hard. I can't find an entry on this. That's a problem with this stock. You know, it's very hard. When the volume comes in, I think just be patient with it. You know, just watch. Don't get too excited. I don't have a clear plan on this. I don't know how to enter. I don't know how to execute this trade. I don't have a comfort level in terms of a plan, right? So I can't help you on this. But I think my recommendation is just be patient. Let it make a clear move, right? Don't jump in right now. The volume is not there. It's kind of in between area. If it starts breaking out with a lot of volume going to 60s, don't worry about it. Don't think that you missed it, right? Think that, okay, now the move is happening. Let me now develop a plan, right? Have that attitude. Right now, the move is not made yet. It's just a random spike on low volume, okay? After that, doesn't mean that it's bullish, because after that, anything can happen. It can come down straight to 50, right? Or it can go up to 60s, 70s. Wait for those kind of moves before you start trading in stock like these. Or any random spike moves. Don't chase the spikes, especially low volume spikes, right? Just make sure you're waiting for the next move to happen. Because honestly, this can come back straight down to 50s, you know? Because the news might look good, but we don't know a lot of details behind it, right? We don't know the company information. Maybe there's some red flags that we have missed in the earnings that's not posted in the news, that the big funds knows, and they start selling or start shorting. You don't know, right? So just be careful when spike like these can happen. Because on the surface, it looks like really good news. But then the next question is, if it's really, really good news, why is this not generating any volume or interest, right? So be careful. Okay, let's do one more. And then, which one? My screen is all messed up. I can't even find my Discord screen now. Okay, let's do one more. AMC. Okay, let's do AMC and then let's call it a day. Yeah, I think AMC, it's pretty clear. You have this 38s level. I think that's pretty strong resistance. If it gets around there, then it's a short. And then the support level would be around 34s. I don't like 34s. 33s, right? 32s and 33s is the support level. So if it gets there, it's a potential bounce area. If it heads towards 37s and 38s, it's a short area. Okay, clear. All right, I think that's it, guys. If there's any other question, just type it in the room. I am